Together with the Sidemen, you've launched very successfully multiple brands like Side, Side Plus, XX Vodka or Side Cards. Why is it so valuable for creators to launch such businesses?
Yeah, so I think the main thing is that creators, when they're making content as their primary source of income, and when their whole engagement with their audience is purely through content alone, you engage on one level, but you don't really have the opportunity to go that bit deeper in terms of connection, in terms of value, and in terms of access to be able to reach different people in different areas of their lives. So for us, our whole ethos has always been about providing real value to the community that the Sidemen have built over the last 10 years and provide value alongside access. And so with all these different brands, it's about providing new touch points of value that go beyond the content that they're currently producing, and they've been producing so brilliantly for 10 years now. So that's really why I think it's so important for creators to make brands, make IP, to provide value beyond the screen, because it brings also all the brilliant things that people love about them from a content perspective into the real world. So people can actually feel, touch, experience the Sidemen in a different way to watching their content every week, and it deepens that relationship. So that is one obvious reason. I think the other reason is about longevity and legacy. You know, YouTube is a platform, as with all social and with all content delivery mechanisms. YouTube especially has its problems, it has its challenges, and being at the behest of a platform for your income, for your stability, is difficult. However, when you have your own businesses, you're owning your own income, you're owning your own future, and it creates ultimately the best insurance plan for if YouTube was to collapse. If, let's say, you lost all of your income from YouTube overnight, you would still have all of your businesses with their own audiences, with their own fandoms, with their own love around them. And I think those are the two things. One is the deepening relationship it creates with your audience and with your fans, and then the other is to build longevity, both commercially, but also I think strategically for yourself as well as a creator.
And what role does the existing social media presence of a creator and his brand play in the process of launching these businesses?
Yeah. So I think it plays a big role to begin with, especially, but I think the aim should be that it translates out, it kind of moves away from them into having its own audience, its own fan base again, beyond their social. So I think the presence, of course, the Sidemen bring, having over 244 million followers now across all the different pages and platforms that they have, both individually and as a group. Of course, that creates a huge platform to start with. You've got an audience there who will see your product, who'll see your brand, who'll see the value you're providing of, firsthand. But I think it's so important that it extends beyond them, that it actually goes out from their audience into each of these brands, creates its own longevity amongst people who don't even know who the Sidemen are. That's ultimately the aim. We would love Sides in 5 to 10 years' time to be loved by people in the same way that KFC is loved today, or Nando's is loved today, who have no idea who the Sidemen are, but the Sidemen just were the platform and the spirit that's kind of embedded into, I guess, the DNA of the brand. So they give it its life, they give it its energy, they give it its personality, because it's them and it's their brand, but it extends out to people who have no idea who they are, and that's ultimately the aim for every single one of the businesses we create.
How do you identify product ideas that align well with the content creator's brand and values?
So a lot of people will say, what would the audience that they've created want necessarily? And I think, of course, that has a place, but I think what's slightly more important for the long term is thinking how passionate are the individuals behind the brand about the product. So as much as you could say, right, well, we have an audience of X age group in this part of the world, and therefore we want to produce this product for them, I think it's also about how can the creator, the personality, the talent, create products that they are truly proud of, that they love, and that they want to provide for their audience. And even if it's a subset of the audience, it's not going to be everybody. If it's something that they love, it's going to be 10 times more exciting for them to put out into the world than if it's something which, they're doing more for commercial reasons than they are for true passion. So for example, XX Vodka, great example of a business which, many of the Sidemen, not all of them, Toby doesn't drink, JJ doesn't really drink anymore, but the majority of the group, they like to party, they like to go out, they like to drink, with their friends when they're out and whatever it might be. XX was always a vision where they could go into a club and order their own drink. Now, for their fan base, they have 95%, I think, over 18s in the audience, big over 18 market. But vodka by default is not going to be attractive to every single one of that audience. It's not a generalist product, but it's something that they are super proud of. And as such, they love it and they love promoting it, they love getting behind it. It's their brand, it's their business, and they've put a lot into it. So I think passion is so important, as well as, of course, audience, but making sure that you as a creator, as an individual, love the thing that you're making out, and ultimately that you would consume it yourself. Because how can you sell something if you wouldn't actually, if you're not going to consume it and love it on a personal level?
And finally, what advice would you give to other creators who would also want to launch their own products?
Yeah, so for any creator out there, I would say to find partners who can really do the operational heavy lifting for you. What do I mean by that? It's very easy to try and do it all. And as a creator, your job should be to make content, to do the thing that you are best at, which is entertaining people, educating people, whatever it is that you do as a creator. And if you are trying to do that as well as be the CEO, as well as be the ops director, as well as be the finance director, you're going to fall down. So I think as for any creator out there who has scale, who has an audience, or who just has an idea, try and find a team if you can of people who can really help you to strategically build your business and to operationally make it happen. Because there are so many things in any business which are very boring, which require a lot of admin, a lot of time, and also a lot of expertise. So lean on and leverage people who have that expertise rather than trying to do it all yourself. And I see some creators try and do everything themselves, try and control everything themselves. And in reality, the more you give, ultimately, I think the more you get. And that also goes for equity and splits, like making sure that you incentivize partners properly. You know, it's all well and good having a partner that you're paying to do a job for you, but how much more will they care if they own a part of that brand? If they're really on the journey, how much more will they give? And for 50%, for 25%, for 10%, you know, over nothing, you're going to get a lot more from a partner. So I would say think about that in relation to bringing people into your journey. Give as much as you ultimately think you need to get from somebody else. If you're going to do half the work, give 50% away. If you're going to do 100% of the work, give 100% away. Sorry, if you're going to do 100% of the work, keep 100%, but know that you're going to have to do that 100% of the work. So I think being cognizant of that, making sure that you're giving as much as you need to incentivize partners, and finding amazing skilled people, and they're out there to help you build your businesses, is probably the best advice I could give.